Up next on End of the Day Beer Review, we're going to be looking at Roastferatu. This is a stout by Necromantic Brew Co., and it is coming in at 6.3% ABV. Check it out. Hi everybody, it's Rich and welcome to End of the Day Beer Review. If you're new, welcome. If you like what you see, please hit that subscribe button, like the video, it helps the channel. Today I am looking at a beer that came once again courtesy of Matt. So Matt, thank you so much. This is called Roastferatu. This is by Necromantic Brew Co. It began when two friends watching horror movies set out to conjure up great tasting beer using ancient grains. We are a dedicated gluten-free brewery combining the love of all things beer and horror to create an experience that is truly unique. We are Necromantic Brew Co. So this is going to be a gluten-free beer. What else does it say? Yes, it says a dedicated gluten-free brewery, and this is brewed and canned by Necromantic Brew Co. In Farmingdale, New York. So this is, I don't know, probably 30 minutes from where I live. Now, I've never tried Necromantic. I've never tried Roastferatu. I'm assuming this is some type of coffee stout. Although it doesn't say anything like that. It just says brewed and canned. Doesn't say what the ancient grains are, so I'm just not sure what they're making it out of. That's very interesting. All right, let's crack it open. I will say this, I do like the can art a lot. It's an old school VHS tape, and I've been letting the can get a little bit warmer because it was in the back of the fridge, so the ink is starting to bleed a little bit on it. But it looks like an old school VHS tape, which is good considering they're doing the the whole play on Roastferatu and Necromantic and all of that stuff. I sort of dig the the theme. All right, let's crack this open. Now it's stout. I'm expecting dark. I'm expecting roastiness. Using my trusty Guinness glass, which spent like half an hour cleaning. So let's hope it looks that way when I pour the beer. Oh, that's interesting. There's actually an arrow on the can telling you where to pour from. That's a new thing. I haven't seen that before. All right, here we go. Unless that's like a registry mark for the sticker. Maybe that's what it is. I'm not sure. All right. Well, I have to tell you, it's lighter than I expected it to be. In fact, it's pouring more like a porter or something like that. Okay. Not a ton of carbonation. Actually, you know what it looks like? It looks like a barley wine to me. And it has sort of a barley wine aroma to it. I wonder if that's how, I don't normally do this because I don't like doing any sort of research on the beer in most cases before I drink it. So, but I'm going to do it right now. Roastferatu by Necromantic Brew Co. Let's see what it says. And it's probably all getting cut out or put at the end. No, I can't get out. They do not have a tremendous presence that I see online. Okay, there we go. We got something. Not much though. Draft beer tap room. All right, I'm gonna look into this more, but okay, I found some stuff. Brew it, can it, pour it, but it seems to just be like, okay, maybe no, those are, no, it's just a site with really just imagery on it. I don't know. All right, we'll have to just give it a try and see, because everything's coming up as either being broken or it's not opening. Maybe it's my Wi-Fi. Let's test it out. Okay, so this is different. So with a stout, normally you get the coffee, you know, sort of flavor to it. You get that roast, you get sort of the chocolate on the back end. I'm getting a totally different flavor profile here. Now there is a roastiness to it, but it's not like roasted coffee. I can't quite place it. There is a roast here. It's almost like a roasted wood as opposed to a roasted grain. I almost want to say whiskey-ish. And by that I mean if you've had Irish whiskey and you know that you get sort of that flavor of the reused, you know, oak or reused barrels that they're using from either sherry or bourbon or whatever it's being aged in. That's sort of the roastiness that's in this beer. The rest of this comes off differently as well. Like I said, I feel like I'm drinking more of a barley wine here. It's a much crisper flavor than a regular stout would be. It's sort of bright in its flavor. And the carbonation in it, which I initially thought was sort of lower than, it looks like it doesn't have a ton of carbonation in it. But the carbonation really opens it up as you swallow it, and it just makes sort of this really nice flavor profile come through. Now, there is a bitterness on the back end of it, and it does seem to be a little bit cumulative. Like every time I drink it, the bitterness gets a little bit more, but it's not like IPA bitterness. This is something different. It's a nice roasted sort of like grain. I almost want to say it's like a barley or like almost a malt. This reminds me a lot. I'm trying to explain this, and it's really a weird thing to say. There's sort of like this just hint or ghost of like an Irish whiskey in the background of this. That sort of roasted, sort of muted barrel flavor is attached to this, so it's there. This is a very interesting beer. It's nothing like I expected. Now that being said, is this a good stout? For me personally, I think it's an excellent stout, but I'm not sure that had I not been told that this was a stout, that I would have necessarily thought immediately that it was a stout. Now I can sort of see it. It seems like an interesting sort of barley wine play on a stout to me. Whereas like, had I just been given this, I would have thought porter, I would have thought barley wine, I would have thought something like that. Especially, and this is the other thing, it drinks like a higher ABV beer. There's a much nicer warmth to the belly. And, you know, normally I'm criticizing a beer when I say that the alcohol is there. I'm not saying that. There's a really nice warming feeling to it. Like, you know, like, again, a nice like whiskey warmth to it. You know, you sit by the fire and you get warm, you know, and you take a drink of that. It's sort of like that type of belly warmth. So this is one that I have to say, totally unexpected, but really, really good. I still can't get over the color of it. It's a much lighter color than I expected. You know, that's it. It's not a barley wine. This reminds me of like a British bitters. You know, it really does, except for the higher ABV. That's why I like it so much. This reminds me of like a traditional bitters, almost like some of the stuff that Gusto puts out. That's what I'm getting here. And that's the roastiness. This is very, very good. But again, I would not have typed this as a stout. So let's say it again. First off, I want to say thank you again to Matt. This was really, really epically good. This will be one that I finish slowly and think about quite a bit. So real quick, Roastferatu by Pneumatic Brew Co. One I would definitely get again. I guess I'm assuming the flavor for this stout is so different because it is gluten-free. And if that's the case, then they really do come out with a product that, regardless of their need to deal with the limitations that are imposed upon a brewer when they're trying to make something that's gluten-free, they have made something that's really flavorful, really interesting to drink, and just a lot of fun. This is so enjoyable to drink. So would I buy it again? Yeah. Will this take me to that brewery? Definitely. This is definitely a brewery I need to check out, especially since it's within a relatively reasonable, drive from my house. Anyway, folks, I hope you have enjoyed the review. If you have, hit that like button, subscribe. I'd love to hear from you in the comment sections. And I'm going to sit back and enjoy the rest of this one. Cheers.